Judd Trump cannot trail going into the evening session. That's the latest news, the update from this Coral Players Championship final of 2020. The best that Yang can do is to achieve parity going into the evening. But the way it's going right now, that would seem highly unlikely. And that kind of break-off against Trump, not recommended.
One.
Cue ball just drifted a little awkwardly though. You can pot the yellow, but it's very difficult cueing with the brown there. Of course, you could drop in behind the yellow if we felt that way, but the bunch are quite close. It's close together. He's playing the blue here. This is a big shot. The question is, do you want to give Bingtao an opportunity so early in a frame, having sat out a couple without any real chance? Strangely, I'm not sure he has left one.
...2005 China Open final in Beijing. Well recall, our own Stephen Hendry was 4-1 up on Ding Junhui. 18-year-old Ding Junhui went for a red down the side rail. It was risky. Ding got in, got a rhythm going and won the match. Changed snooker history.
Foul. And a miss. Yeah, Bingtao 4.
Don't compromise your game plan, of course not, but do not push out the boat.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's 4-1. There's a lot of snooker to be played, but Judd knows that he's in a position where he really could put this match to bed almost this afternoon if he wins all the frames. You can't think that far in advance very often. Take it shot by shot and the usual stuff, but it could go that way. For now, he's got to try and hit this snooker. He's got mighty close that time without actually making contact.
If you miss once again, you will lose the frame.
Yes, no, this is where I find it interesting, because he's got a clear shot at reds, albeit he's absolutely bang over the top of the brown and the blue. So really, he can't play that shot again, surely. He's got to play something else, basically. It's as far as I'm prepared to go for now. Something where he hits one. Has to be careful not to hit the pink here or anything. That'll be end of frame. There you go, that's about all he could do. It didn't look great, but the frame's still going rather than being set up at 4-2.
Just going back to the previous shot, Trump was a beneficiary of 3 misses and loss of frame against Thepchai Unu in the World Open final this season.
Yes, it's still quite a rare occurrence, although it did happen at the Crucible last year as well, didn't it? Last year's championship. To Stuart Bingham in a match where he was way in front against Graham Dott, and then eventually it scrambled over the line, made a good break in the decider. But along the way, the 3 strikes and out rule did for him in the frame.
The first person to fall foul of that on television is the most unlikely candidate you could ever imagine. Steve Davis in the Irish Masters against Ken Doherty. Deciding frame it was as well.
Well, now what's going to happen? Yeah. If I was Judd, I'd probably be happy for a little re-rack here. Just do it all again. Bingtao, I don't know how he feels about that. That lead of 7 points shouldn't be enough to stop him if he feels he wants a re-rack. But he could get up the table off this, but how much does he want to? No, I think this time Trump is looking to play away from these reds. So potential stalemate has now seemingly ended. I think what we can say about Bingtao is he's still work in progress, but he's learning very quickly. You know, his safety game is pretty good now. We've seen it all week that he's in, I think, since I saw him even a couple of weeks ago in the Welsh. He seems to have come on as a player since then even more. I guess when you're 20 years of age, then you've got a lot of learning to do. Judd was the same.
Bingtao's run to the final here has created quite a stir in the People's Republic of China. Sina, the very large website, today ran a 2,000-word piece in which his father, Yan Dong, is extensively quoted. One of the gists of the piece is that the family, from a humble background, made lots of sacrifices, and at times they wondered whether it was worth it, but now it's the payback, financially and otherwise.
Well, whichever way you look at this, is either going to be on a colour or Bingtao is in a world of trouble behind brown or blue here.
Blue ball.
This could be a horrible snooker.
Trump one.
That's where Trump's long pot has benefited in a different way to what you would expect. Lay the snooker and get out of this one.
Years ago, there was an arm wrestling film with Sylvester Stallone where one of the baddies told Sylvester, "You're in a world of hurt." Well, I think that phrase applies here. Over the top, it was called. Yan Bingtao can't go over the top of the brown and the blue, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, if you could get in behind those two reds on the left, it'd be great, but he can't. The two reds on the right, by the right corner, are the ones he's aiming to target anyway. I don't think he meant to hit that red. He might not want that one back. I don't think he could possibly have aimed for that red. I think it was the other two on the right. I think he tried to miss this one to the right and tickle up against the other two reds over there, just coming into shot now. anyway. And for once you can keep Judd Trump out, but not leaving the red that he played.
One of the things that Yan Bingtao's father said was that over the last 6 months or so, he's noticed that his son has really grown up at the table, shows less emotion, but there, after realising he couldn't get through to the red, couldn't help but shake his head and grimace a little. Well, this time, nothing straightforward for Trump.
I think he might have hit the wrong red there. He seemed to come back at a strange angle from the red that he potted. I think he hit the left-hand red before the other red. Yeah, must have done. But everything seems to be blocking each other off, all the colours. What on earth can he do with this? Nothing pots.
Judd Trump 1.
Following the pattern of the fourth frame, where the balls conspired against both players.
So an interesting tweet actually from Vic's Academy, Victoria's Academy, where a lot of the Chinese players are based. Said yet last night that quite a few of the players from the academy can beat Yan Bingtao in practice. Which doesn't surprise me, some terrific players, but they can't beat him in matches, clearly, because he's having all the success. But some might be more talented than him, but on the match table he's as hard as nails.
Well, you and I know, Neil, over the years we've seen so many world-beating practice players who just can't do it when it counts. Must be so hard for them to take personally, because they know they've got the ability, but they can't quite harness it.
Well, I think what I think about that is that sometimes you'll see a young player with all the talent in the world, someone that hasn't got quite as much, but the one who doesn't have all the talent works twice as hard. And that counts for a lot, because he'll overtake the more talented player at some point with that attitude.
Well, when he was lining that up, I thought he was hitting it too thick, but he does tend to have alignment that's different from anyone else, and so I wasn't going to say anything. but it was nowhere near.
Well, it was turning into one of those not very nice frames, but it's one that Yan Bingtao really needs to win somehow. That was not an easy shot that he missed.
1.
Trump's gone to sleep a little bit himself.
Drop Trump 1.
Would have been easy for Trump there to show a little bit of frustration, gone for the yellow, missed it, and let Bingtao in again. And he'll not be pleased with the way this frame has gone, but he still holds the advantage after that last shot. That's, I think, where Judd Trump has changed a little bit in the last 18 months.
And it just goes to show the ambidextrous shot there, the left-handed shot. He's got all the cue power in the world right-handed, but just didn't get hold of the cue ball playing left-handed.
Foul. Reverse. Drop Trump 7.
Sometimes on an obvious case of putting the cue ball back, the player just sits there. Trump felt it necessary to just stand up and have a cursory look, but he knew deep down the white was always going back.
Ju-
A little bit of a slow walk back to his chair. I think he might have left, well, he's left a red easy to the middle, but he might have left that other red as well.
One.
It just feels an important frame now, Phil, doesn't it, this one, just because of the way this match is starting to
7.
shape up. It's not been an explosive frame, and Trump wins most of those. But
8.
you know, if he's going to win these sort of frames as well, the one that Bingtao has been winning all week, then this final's only going to head one way.
There's been lots of break building situations today where he's had to really think about things. It's not routine, straightforward.
14.
But we saw in that absolutely wonderful clearance against Steve Maguire, that clarity of thought, the awareness of how the table lies.
15.
And there's no one better in solving these problems. And that was a bonus.
21.
Now he's playing this one right-handed. I don't think I explained myself too well a little earlier on when I was talking about his
22.
ambidextrous skills, because of course he was playing the shot he underscrewed the normal way. Being able to switch hands like that, though, Neil, what an asset.
I think he has to play right-handed, doesn't he, on those shots
20.
because he uses the rest with the opposite hand. He can't get to those ones down the cushion. He's an unusual player.
29.
Now, I think from there, the top red of the two close together will pot.
35. $36. $42. $43.
Doesn't seem to matter where the balls are. He just has a solution to the conundrum. Although this time hasn't quite solved the problem
49.
because there's 52 on the table. 59 on the table, I should say. 52 in it.
Well, he thinks he can cut this in. It's ever so thin. Wow. He has solved it now, but I must admit that looked as thin as you could possibly cut a ball.
Honey cuts or cheese?
Blue ball. Judd Trump 50.
The half century should be enough to wrap up yet another frame for Judd Trump. Yan Bingtao needs one snooker. Of course, though, if you're just joining us, Trump won the first frame, having been in the situation where he required snookers. I think in his mind, Yan Bingtao, this frame's over. Not just in his mind, in reality.
Six. Seven.
He just goes from strength to strength. He can win so many different ways.
$14. 15.
Judd Trump halfway to victory and halfway to a record-equaling 5th world ranking event title this season. He leads 5-1.